What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Good morning. Welcome to another Transfer View Monday morning settings. We have got a lot to talk about. The players that we're linked with again, players that may be coming. Ten Hag's making more demands again. We've been linked to Jamie Vardy. There's stuff about Ronaldo. It's all kind of going off again on a routine Monday morning at Manchester United after the back of a poor result. This basically feels like exactly how it did last Monday, but obviously even worse after a worse performance, a worse defeat. Then the rumour mill starts, the dissection starts on the Monday morning nice and early, and then you get your crazy links. After we lost against Brighton, we were told, and out of it, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Now we've lost to Brentford, it's now... oh, yeah, Vardy, we can go down that route, essentially. But a lot to get into. So smash a like on the video, subscribe if you lot are new to the channel. How are you feeling? What's occurring? Where are you at?
I'm still shell-shocked, honestly. I really am. Like in the movies or the films, when something's really bad's happened and you can't hear any noise. You can just hear that high-pitched whatever. That's what I feel like at the moment. I feel like I'm just sort of, every time I'm reading Manchester United news, I'm just hearing this high-pitched noise. Everything else is blocked out, and then someone has to go, Owen. And you go, oh. And you go, what happened? You go, oh, sorry, I was thinking about the weekend again. I can't get over it, And then, like you said, then this morning, you have a look online, you go through the outlets, you read the stories, and you see Jamie Vardy. You see that we're going to be selling James Garner. You hear more about Cristiano Ronaldo's attitude and Ten Hag being open to selling him. You hear about all of the above, and it's just Monday. And 7 days from now...
Is that all left? I feel like I've been saying there's a couple of weeks left.
No,
for about a couple of weeks.
7 days from now, it's Liverpool.
Oh, right. Sorry.
We are today. It's Monday, August 15th. We've got about 15, 16 days. Well, 15 days basically. 16.
Yeah.
And yeah,
it's bro. It's gonna be a common theme, isn't it? Like of where we're at. It's gonna be a common theme of us trying to find players, scraping the barrel, getting linked with players that some will be complete false. Like, because people will just throw things out there to add to the social media isms. And some will come from really reliable sources, which we'll talk about later on, where you think, bloody hell, there probably is some negotiations going on there or some rounds of talks or something. But it's just an absolute mess, and something we've got to dive into today. But first up, Ten Hag demands more transfers.
He needs them.
Which is fair to say.
He needs them.
That's probably right.
It's entirely justified. He needs them. Erik Ten Hag, according to the Telegraph, is demanding at least 3 more signings before the transfer window closes. Again, that's in about 16 days' time. Now, The Athletic is reporting that Manchester United are still attempting to recruit Frenkie de Jong and working on adding both competition for David De Gea and much-needed reinforcements up front. It continues here when it talks about Erik Ten Hag. He's saying, Erik Ten Hag wants 2 midfielders signed before the end of August with hopes that Adrien Rabiot will be secured for a fee of up to 20 million euros in time for the Liverpool game next week. We were chatting...
Even that?
We were chatting before we went live, and this was kind of my feeling about it, is I'm so numb to this now, or I'm so indifferent to transfers. Not that we don't need them, because clearly we do, but any singular transfer, whether it's Rabiot, whether it's Frenkie de Jong, I'm looking at that performance at the weekend and I'm going, right, you drop him into that team, yeah, we're a little bit better. But I still think that result happens. I still think that result happens. You put Rabiot in there, we still lose 4-0. You put Frenkie de Jong in there, we still lose 4-0.
100%.
So he can demand more transfers, and he's absolutely justified to. Everything that Erik Ten Hag has done over the last 24 to 48 hours, he's absolutely justified to do. Making them run the distance they didn't run against Brentford, calling them in on their day off because they basically had one on Saturday, doing all that kind of stuff and demanding more transfers. He's absolutely right to, but it's so low at the moment that you just sort of go... How do you get out of this hole?
Yeah,
it signings, but what kind of signings can we do?
The hole that we're in. Let's just have it right. Obviously, the only thing that can begin to ease the pain is results. It's winning. It's winning football matches. Even if you ain't got the right signings and you're linked to players that you don't think you should be linked with, the only thing that can soothe this or put a plaster over anything is wins. Because we don't. As you look at the fixture list, you can't see where the next win's going to come from. No. Like, that's just as a base point. Like, there's so much going on, which are all real things. But if you're winning games, those things are easier to deal with and not as highlighted. But it's like they go hand in hand. The failings that you've done, the lack of preparation for the squad, the lack of preparation for the season, transpires into this low feeling, transpires into these losses, transpires into these capitulations, because it's the same as last season. Nothing has changed. So they do go hand in hand, but 100% on what you're saying there. Like, there isn't one set signing or even a group of sign. Even if we signed 3 players before Liverpool, they couldn't just go into a squad with 2 training sessions and all of a sudden we beat Liverpool. Can't happen. Liverpool's not even just Liverpool. The teams we've been playing, they're teams. They're knitted together. They're not just been thrown together and all of a sudden they're good. Manchester United are, if we're trying to firefight, that's what we're trying to replicate within the space of a few games. We can't do that, and that's where the patience thing comes in. Is like you've got 2 things to battle with. You've got the thing of, Jesus, this club's not changing. Oh my goodness, we are panicking. The manager's like this. He's got 2 arms tied behind his back. What is he supposed to do? Then you've got the whole side of it of he is actually still trying to implement new things that will take time. So that coupled together is just disaster. So this is going to get a lot. Monday night is going to be horrific.
Yeah, we thought the game at the weekend was embarrassing. That was away at Brentford, last season, a newly promoted side. But the Liverpool game at Old Trafford last season was embarrassing. Just think what it could be. The confidence is arguably lower going into this game than it was going into that Liverpool game last season.
Yeah.
And I talked about, still feeling shell-shocked. I honestly, Flex, I felt so bad for Erik ten Hag after that game at the weekend because he was stood on the touchline. He looked absolutely shell-shocked. And I was thinking,
he did.
What must he be thinking? This is a guy that, again, has got a very good reputation, come from Ajax, progressive coach. Pep Guardiola last season was saying, maybe one day he could be the name that replaces me at Manchester City. And we were looking at a guy that's realising that his reputation is in serious jeopardy.
Well, and remember when we was doing those shows and we said, is it a risk for his reputation? We were all like,
yeah, absolutely.
Of course it is, especially with this crop.
Yeah.
Like, before he can change the team round, that's the reason why, in my opinion already, of course you don't get a complete free hit. Like, we can't finish 16th and shit like that. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no matter what happens with this squad, even if we finish 10th or whatever, you have to stick with this manager
100%.
and allow him to gut it out. Where you look back, again, I keep using Arsenal as a reference points because they're the most recent version of what we're trying to not achieve, because Arsenal still have stuff that we don't know if it's actually worked. But in terms of rebuilding the squad, they look at their team now and they say, yeah, I feel a bit silly comparing it to when Klopp first came in and because we're so far off those teams. It's like Arsenal are the one that we could get to the next stage by the closest. Can't get to Liverpool.
The only thing I don't understand about this, Flex, and I mentioned this during the match for you as well.
I was mental.
The only thing I don't understand about this is I look at comparing Man United to Burnley is not the best comparison, but I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Burnley are a side, right, for years, Sean Dyche, long ball football, hardly progressive football, possession-based football. You have Vincent Kompany coming over the summer, and now they're playing 70% possession football. I know it's the Championship, but my point is that's a guy that's come in there with lesser players in a lesser division and has been able to transform the style of football they play immediately like that. And how come then we're saying Man United, well, some of these players just can't do it.
I'll be watching Burnley as well. It's so weird watching them play.
But you know what I mean? These are professional footballers, and you're telling me some of them can't pass it. That's Burnley.
Yeah.
And Kompany, at least you can see what he's trying to do. And I don't put this on Erik ten Hag, but watching some of these performances, well, these first two, you can't see what he's trying to do because either they can't do it, or they're just not doing it, or they're reverting to type again. We talked about
stats because they're doing the same thing they've always done.
Like De Gea in that game against Brentford at the weekend, his confidence went like that, and he went, "I'm not playing out from the back now." Yeah. And Ten Hag, I think in the second half said, "Well, okay, then if you're not going to do it, don't bother. Go long." But he could go. It's one of the fundamental principles of Erik ten Hag's game, and it vanished.
It's exactly.
It's crazy.
We saw it in pre-season, and that for me is the biggest thing of what's going on. Right, is that the basic application of a professional footballer, like just the standard of like working hard, or like I was thinking of it like you go 1-0 down in the first 10 minutes against Brentford, right? And this is no disrespect to Brentford. This is just me looking at it like holistically, right? you're not 1-0 down at the Bernabeu in the
Yeah,
Champions League
it's
semi-final.
not over.
Like,
but the treatment is like it's
it's
over.
not like 100%
Oh,
because their heads drop. If you have anything about you, yeah, and I know we're far off that, you should be able to say, right, we'll give Brentford a 2-0 head start. All right, like what? Like, how can your mentality be that weak that like, as soon as you concede a goal, whether it's home, whether it's away, or whatever, you just crumble.
And
like,
that's not for just for top teams, by the way. That's for any Premier League side. Any Premier League side, a mistake happens from the goalkeeper. You go, it happens. We'll win the game 2-1. With Manchester United, it's 1-0 down. You go, well, we've lost. It's game over.
It's
over.
From where I was sitting,
So
I
let's stop
looked at
playing.
it, and as soon as David De Gea let that goal in, the first one, we all knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I looked at it and said, well, there's only going to be one winner. You know, even before the game, I said, we're fragile mentally. If we concede early, we are toast. Absolute toast. Especially with coming off the back of the Brighton thing. We need to be in the lead to even, you know. So to go a goal down. And the same thing will happen against Liverpool. But back to what this thing was about of Ten Hag demands more signings and a few outlets saying he wants this amount of players. And yeah, you know, he needs it. He absolutely needs it. We know that. And
do you think he gets it? I think
he gets a couple.
I think he gets a couple.
He gets a couple. He gets two.
But my point is that I just don't know.
It'll be panic. It'll be what he didn't really want.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It'll be what he didn't really want, or what was all the way down here on the list.
And we've seen with new signings that they get brought in, they might have the mentality he's looking for, but the existing mentality at United bleeds into them.
Yeah. Which is why it won't change for ages.
Exactly.
Though.
Like look at Christian Eriksen. Great mentality,
Sucked
but he
straight
was
into
exactly the same.
I really felt for Christian Eriksen the other day. Obviously, he's a professional footballer. You got to take the good with the bad. But the Brentford fans were absolutely mocking him. They were going, "What's the score, Eriksen?" They were booing him. There were some Brentford fans turning around saying, "Well, come on, why are you doing that?" It was mixed, but I would say it was more overwhelming for boos. You know, when he took corners and, you know, or free kicks and the keeper caught it, they're just giving the way. When he had that header that the keeper just caught, it was just all on him. And it was like, well done, Manchester United. You have a player who's picked us over them. And I'm not saying, yeah, well done, we won over Brentford. I'm just saying he's choose to come to Manchester United. It just so happens that his first away game is back there. What do? Highlight him as, you know, he's heavily involved in not his fault, but heavily involved in the second goal. Gives the ball away because he gets stitched up by David De Gea. And Eriksen has to go through that. And you know what? It's just a typical Man United thing to happen, isn't it?
What do you think about this as well? This came from Chris Wheeler and Simon Jones from the Daily Mail. They said, concerns about among Manchester United's coaching staff over the effort put in by some players in training last week were justified by their pathetic performance against Brentford. I.e., that report is essentially saying, if it is indeed true, that the coaching staff, Ten Hag, Mitchell van der Gaag, Steve McLaren, went into that game going, they've been rubbish in training this week, and we could be in a lot of trouble.
Well, the problem with that is that
it's very easy to say in hindsight.
That's what I was going to say. When you see when you see a result as poor as that, are you really going to fight to say, "No, I still don't believe that"? Like at the end of the day, what are you fighting? What are you fighting to disprove? Yeah. Because it's a fair aside. With the way they played, they clearly must have been shitting all week.
And I definitely did not want to hear, and we heard this so much under Ollie and Ralph, to be fair, going, well, they were great in training. Oh. They were great in training, but they're not great on the pitch. And it's even denigrated so much to the point they're not even good in training anymore. Yeah. At least they were like, remember hearing that about Rashford? He's been doing great. If he can just transfer that to the pitch, but they're not even doing that now. Yeah. And to me, that's wild.
Smash the like on the video, peeps. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Remember, you can become a UV member if you would like to. The link is in the video description below. A big shout out to Tabislo yesterday, who gifted 50 memberships as well.
5-0.
Unbelievable.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for that, bro. And, big up to the people who got the memberships as well. If you'd like to do that, remember that you can do so if you would like. Let's get onto this one. United want Vardy. I really want to get into this because what have we got first?
This comes from the...
Let's follow this.
This comes from The Athletic, who say that Manchester United are considering a move for Jamie Vardy, but Leicester are reluctant to sell the England striker. This, to me, encapsulates everything about Manchester United's transfer strategy, not just this year, but over the last decade. In that you've got a player in Jamie Vardy who could have been a legitimate target 5 years ago, right? But now, how old is he? 33, 34?
Yeah. In a decline, 100%.
In his decline. How many games did he play last season and the season prior? He's had troubles with injuries. And what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Pure panic stations. And realistically, Jamie Vardy ain't coming to Manchester United. Leicester don't want to sell. They've got their own thing going on with Fofana and all that kind of stuff. Have they bought anyone? I don't think they've bought anyone this summer. They're going to get they're going to get a keeper. They signed him. But they've got their own issues. They're not backup keeper. They're not going to get rid of their talismanic figure in Jamie Vardy. But the fact that United now are just scrambling around Football Manager settings, shortlist, striker, Jamie Vardy.
Yeah. I'm going to say something here, and I don't mean this condescending to the other side who I'm saying it to, because I've got a lot of respect for what they do and what's happening there, right? I'm telling you now, Manchester United are moving like an MLS team. And again, no disrespect to the MLS. Like, I've done a lot of work with them, especially last season. You know what I mean? Doing a lot of work of how they're trying to promote the MLS, and it is growing. But in terms of the stigma of, like, some of the players who used to be good or are on the back end of their careers go there for, you know, yes, it raises it's great. It's great for, you know, the profile of the league and stuff like that. But, bro, that's what's happening at Manchester United if you deep it. You're getting the back end of an injury-ravaged Cavani. You're getting, okay, I'm not saying Ighalo was like the top, but you're getting an Ighalo to just kind of pass the time. You're getting a Ronaldo at the back end of his career where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe a couple of little glory days, score some goals. You're getting linked to Arnautovic. You're getting linked to Jamie Vardy. These are players that if they went to the MLS at this time, you'd go, yeah, you know what? Yeah, because they've achieved everything in their career. Can't really do it at the top anymore. Let's do that. We're getting taken for an MLS team, bro.
I said it's Rocky,
Manchester United fire.
Rocky Horror picture show settings. It's time warp. This transfer window, we're in 2018. Think of it. Jamie Vardy, Milinkovic-Savic, Rabiot, who else? Arnautovic. Did they get out the Rolodex from 2018? Because these are the players we were interested. Let's go from now. These are the alternatives we were like told. We can get these done quickly. Jamie Vardy, Arnautovic, Milinkovic-Savic, Rabiot. And it's not to say that some of these people aren't good players. It's just a case of it's pure panic. And
it's too late.
And what's Jamie?
You should have got Jamie Vardy when Arsenal were trying to get him 4 years ago or 5. How he turned them down. You know what I mean? Yeah, just after they won the league. 2016, 2017. Do it then. Put in a bid then, because he was the best striker in the league then, or one of. Like,
not after he hasn't played for 2 years.
I'm just lost for words. Like, I'm actually lost for words. And you know what? Again, I know this is early doors, right? And it's the Athletic saying that, isn't it? Who said that?
Yeah, the Athletic.
The Athletic. So, you know, fairly reliable source. But I think with the Arnautovic one, a lot more came out where we knew they put a bid in. It got, you know. So I'm not saying this has definitely happened, but let's just say after Arnautovic, I'm going to believe a lot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But who, again, when we weren't really successful on Arnautovic, and we'll see how this transpires. Hopefully it goes to shit. And like you said, I don't think Leicester can.
It's not going to happen.
So let's just deal with it in a hypothetical. But who sat down at the table and went, we didn't get Marco Arnautovic, you know? I mean, Jamie Vardy's, you know, he's got like the highest goal scorer. He's like one of the highest goal scorers in the Prem after the age of 30. You know, he's Premier League champion more recent than us.
And another good thing, it's like, it's good for a year. You know what I mean? And that is typical. How many strikers it'll do for now? It'll do for now. And then what happens next year, Flex? What happens next year or the year after when we're going, we just can't get rid of Jamie Vardy. He's on these giant, because he's going to be on big wages. How do we get rid of Jamie Vardy? It's good for now. Everything is good for now, especially that striking position. How many strikers have we signed over the age of 30 going back like the last 6 years? There's like 6 or 7. It's crazy. The amount of strikers, because they're good for now. They'll do a job for now. Where is the long-term replacement going to come in? And maybe at this point in this transfer window, we don't get that long-term replacement for a striker because it's too late. But again, that's on the board. That's on the recruitment department.
I'm telling you, bro, MLS settings, mate. You change our name now from Man United to fucking
into Manchester.
Into Manchester or United White Shorts. Fuck let's just be called United White Shorts. Like, and again, you guys know me, innit? I'm not even being condescending to the MLS. Like, it's nothing to do with that. It's just how we're moving. We're moving like a club that's just trying to like, oh, that'd be good if we can get someone who used to be good.
Yeah. Everything's
Like
5 years
what?
ago.
Like what are we doing?
And it's one of those
I
ones.
don't want any more news.
And it's one of those ones, like you said, you read it this morning and you know, like, it's probably not going to happen. But you look at it, we go, well, it's the Athletic. So there's something there. Whether it's full-blown interest, whether it's whatever, but there's something there. And it's eye-rolling. It really is. It's just pure eye-rolling.
Smash the like on the video, peeps. Get
It's going to
involved
be a long
in the
season.
chat. It's going to be a long season. Obviously, we're going to be here to tell the story. That's what we do. But my God, it's just whenever you think that it can't get worse.
Oh, we haven't even got through all the stories yet. So.
Exactly. Let's do some of the super chats, actually. We'll start at the top, obviously. Mark Harris says, relegation 20-1, odds checker not looking good, bruv. Avram Glazer says, honest question to you. Why should I spend my money? I already gained so much from this franchise. This franchise already sells like hotcake without top six, bro. Quite ironic there from Avram. Thank you. Marcel's Porridge says, to put it simply, I just hate these players. That is very simple for Marcel's Porridge. Yeah. Simple like the porridge. Yeah. Just simple fleck. Rebe says, Ten Hag wants Gakpo, whatever. Don't care because we're not going to get him, so I don't care how I say it.
You're just so defeated.
Bro, like, I am. And it's because I know what's coming Monday night.
Yeah.
I've got to travel up there. It's a late game. I've got to stay over. We've got to get reaction from the fans and see how fans are feeling. And it's just going to be a horrible evening. We've got the protest going on before. And I'm just not looking forward to it. I'm just not. I'm just not, bro.
And that's what it was like last season, wasn't it?
And that's this guy. Sorry, just quickly. The other striker we linked with, Kalazic. He's played 15 games last year and scored 5 goals. What was that? 5, 6 goals? Oh, he's going to come in and sort it.
Take the Premier League by storm.
Sorry, carry on.
It's you.
Oh, what was I saying? Oh, super chat. That was it. Ten Hag wants Gakpo. The board gives him an older striker. Exactly. That's just how it is right now. David T says, we are selling Garner for Rabiot, who performed worse than McTominay in a league where Ashley Young was a title winner at 36 and Lukaku looked godlike. Nick says, either Eric Ten Hag changes his tactics to accommodate these players or needs to play youth. These players simply don't have the skill or IQ to play that way. Maybe towards the end of the show, I want to talk about that. I know it's a whole week and we've got to lead up to the Liverpool game.
Yeah.
But, what should he do? Does he stay with his principles? Or does he change something in the short term just to put a bit of some plasters on? Because we are bleeding out right now. We are bleeding out. But we'll talk about that a bit later. The real Ronaldo says, continuing to purchase average players will have us mid-table. Will have us a mid-table club. Shame we missed out on Kim Min Jae. Scouting is shit. Can't expect to revamp the team until we revitalize our talent acquisition team. And Manzir, big up to you, bro. Always a pleasure when you come through. Big up to Manzir. Says the boss needs power and needs the personnel structure around him. There is no evidence he will be able to build the club which is needed. 100%. Exactly. He's already not getting the support that he needs. Marcel says, Marcel's Porridge, horrible bunch of players. I'm actually fuming. And the real Ronaldo says, Flex, can you tell me where you got your hat? Yeah, freshegokid.com. Check it out. If you know all the stuff that I'm wearing is Fresh Ego, to a good friend Marvin, who's no longer with us, done so much for the culture, done so much for a lot of people. But yeah, I'm always in Fresh Ego Kid almost every single day. So yeah, if you guys ever want any of the stuff on there, this is last season stuff, but there's always sales on there. Feel free to check it out, man. Anything I wear you can find on that website, unless it's like been discontinued or whatever. Marcel's Porridge also says Maguire, Shaw, Bruno, McTominay, Rashford, bench or sell. I don't care, but all 5 need replacing if Ten Hag is going to be a success at this club. D-Train, latest member of the United View Members Club. Another one, big up to D-Train. Thank you for that, my bro. Lawrence says, we have officially been linked with everyone, 100%. Olu says, Flex is broken. I can see the pain in his eyes.
Yeah.
I can't lie. Can't hide it. It hurts. It really, really hurts. Reyes says, former City man, but we should have got Jesus before Arsenal did. Bruno needs to be sold. I've seen nothing from him for 2 seasons. Yeah, I would have bitten your hand off for someone like Jesus. And you look how he's playing, but would he have done that? I'm not so sure, but who cares, because we wouldn't even have tried to get him. Big up to you guys for the comments. Keep them coming through. Yeah, what we got?
James Garner. This is a really surprising one. This has kind of come out of nowhere this morning. We'd spoken a lot about whether Garner was going to get a chance in the first team, whether he was going to go out on loan. But the idea of him getting sold this summer wasn't really in the topic of conversation. But it looks like James Garner is indeed set to leave Manchester United on a permanent deal. This comes from multiple sources this morning. First, from Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic, is saying that Erik ten Hag has decided that James Garner should be allowed to leave Manchester United if a suitable bid arrives. Sources say United value Garner at around £14 million. Now, this has subsequently been backed up by Samuel Lucas of the Manchester Evening News, who said that Manchester United have decided to sell James Garner. United value Garner between £15 and £20 million. Nottingham Forest and Tottenham are interested in the player. I must say, Flex, I was really surprised by this morning because absolutely the guy needs first team football. That's not even a topic of conversation. But at a time when the midfield at Manchester United is in complete shambles, when we've seen midfield performances like we saw against Brighton, like we saw against Brentford, and you've got a player like James Garner who really has not, I mean, especially in the Premier League, has not had a chance. Even in pre-season, barely had a chance, injuries and all that kind of stuff. But now we're in the position to just go, we don't need him. I'm stunned.
I'm sorry, when did we have a wealth of talent?
I'm stunned by that. I'm absolutely... And I understand it would be like, well, you're getting in Rabiot, but still like, well, okay, but looking at the options that we have, you're telling me he can't be an option? And if you're saying...
Well, even if you loaned him again.
Loan him out. But that to me... We're talking about playing the youth, and we said we might touch on this later, but we spoke about it last night. One of the more promising youth players, he's not really even youth player at this point that we have, we're selling. Yeah. I'm absolutely flabbergasted.
And you look at it's Tottenham and Forest. Forest obviously would be in for him. That would make the most sense. But it's Forest and Spurs that are in for him potentially. And imagine if James Garner goes to Spurs, right? And even though I look at their midfield now as it is, I would be like, I don't know where he's going to, that's fine. But just imagine he went there and just got game time and just, the next day, they basically did what we should have been doing with him. Put him in for a few games here and there, give him a season. Okay, cool. Go out on loan. And, they just take on from what we should have done. It would just be embarrassing. And the thing is we can't make that assumption that James Garner is 100% not good enough.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't been given a chance. And you look at players like McTominay who've come through the academy and continually failed. I mean, given chance after chance after chance, new contracts, big wages, whatever you want to call it. Played over, 100 games for Man United comfortably. Comfortably a pro, like McTominay is. Played in big games for Man United.
Yeah.
And hasn't been at it. And then there's a kid who's been kind of, he's gone out on owned his craft in the Championship. He's got pretty much 100 Championship appearances over the course of Forest and Watford. And between those two clubs actually in the Championship, played a hell of a lot of games in the Championship, got promoted in the biggest game in football, as they say. Obviously apart from the Champions League final, but to come up in the playoff, played in that game, and showed some ability. And actually, it fits in with we caught up with Jimmy like on tour and stuff, and we was again talking to him at the game the other day. Actually, I didn't ask him about his future, but he said on tour, he was like, I just need to play games now, man. He said it. He said, I just need to play games now. Whether it's here or on loan, I'm not sure. Like he said that to me in KG, like when we was walking around where the bus was. But what struck me with it is, obviously, I'm not surprised to see some movement of it because the kid does need to play. You don't go and play 100-odd games. Like he's further ahead of like Hannibal and Chong, and even though Chong's gone out on loan, he's been injured. He's racked up a lot of appearances in men's football in the Championship. It's time for the next stage of his evolution. So to write it off and say we want the 14 million for him, you better have a flipping good plan.
Oh, and also as
you better have a flipping good plan.
The only way I could justify selling him is that we would have some kind of buyback clause involved. You know what I mean? That we would have some kind of buyback clause, but. Like you said, maybe James Garner isn't good enough, right? Maybe he's not good enough.
Yeah,
maybe he's not up to the level of Manchester
We
United.
haven't seen that evidence, though.
One, we don't know. And two, from my perspective, it can't be much worse than what we've seen, right? Surely not.
This is a bit of a one side to the other for me because I was kind of kicking back a little bit on just play all the kids in this because it would be better.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah, we did that in the full view yesterday. And I was saying, look, that could ruin a lot of their confidence. Like, I don't think they deserve that. Even when Ralph was here, we listened to everything Ralph said. Even Ralph said it's not fair. Because everyone was saying last year, why didn't Ralph just play the kids? Well, because it's not fair. And actually, them senior pros should keep getting their heads hung in shame. Don't let them off the hook. This is your mess. You start, you know what I mean? But there's both sides to that, because you could say a young, fearless kid, at least when they lose, no one will get onto them and it calms it down a little bit. But me personally, I think it ruins confidence. I think if you just throw in a high volume of kids, like a high volume, all it's going to do is they're just going to, yes, they're going to run around and give passion and stuff like that. But essentially, you know, when they haven't really made their career paths yet, they're going to get smoked by a lot of teams. But anyway, away from that, but I wasn't into sell Garner.
No.
You know, I said they all shouldn't start against Liverpool. I would drip feed a few in, start a Garnacho and start Garner. Maybe, you know, that's fine.
To me, because
but don't sell him.
Garner's more ready for first team football than Charlie Savage or Zidane, because he's got 100 games.
Because
he's got 100 games.
Exactly.
And again, and he might not be to the level of Manchester United. Maybe we are overrating the player, but as I mentioned, I don't see how it can be much worse than how McTominay and Fred, specifically McTominay, has played the last 2 games.
Yeah.
And this isn't agenda driven. This is against Brighton, when McTominay played in the first half. He made 8 successful passes. He came on against Brentford. He was no better. He passed the ball to nobody because the advertising hoarding was a bit yellowy green.
Jimmy,
that was it.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And I'm not saying Garner's going to come in and, like we've said about any player, he's going to reinvent Manchester United.
He'd keep the ball better than that.
It's going to be amazing. But again, it can't be much worse. And he does have senior level experience.
Yeah.
Which these other guys don't.
Exactly.
And again, that to me, at a time which we need people in the middle of the park, we're selling them. And yeah, Rabiot looks like he's going to be coming in, but is he going to be available? Is he going to be ready for Liverpool? You know, it's one less option during a game in which we need options. And I find that absolutely staggering. But clearly, again, to back the manager, that's what they're saying this morning, is that Ten Hag's made the call of, no, we can get rid of him. I just feel like that might be one where in a year's time, 2 years' time, we go, shouldn't have done that. Yeah. And that to me just... It's always the wrong decision.
Can we get a poll up? I think I know what the answer is going to be, but in the interest of, you know, democracy and everyone having their say and stuff, and not just assuming that we know what people think, can we get a poll? Should Manchester United sell James Garner? Just yes or no. I think we know what the answer is going to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you make some great points in terms of, you know, there are plenty of players that, out of the young crop, that haven't even played men's football yet. You talk about players doing things the right way, go out and play your football. It was different for McTominay because he kind of came straight through. It was different for Rashford because he come straight through. We haven't really had a player, apart from Lingard actually, who was the one who went out on loans and stuff and then came back and was ready. Pereira, again, kind of just ended up in the team, then not good enough, then got his loan.
You look at people like Chelsea, you look at people like, you said Chelsea, great example, Mason Mount goes out on loan, goes in, he's
Derby,
integral to
Holmes'
their team.
craft, do you know what I mean?
Reece James.
That's the
Wigan.
way, exactly, that was it, Wigan. You know, you look at Smith Rowe, wasn't he at Huddersfield?
Yeah.
You know, players like that, you know, it can be done. All right, Saka was fast track. There's different paths with different players, but
most of the time you have to play at some level of senior football. You can't just be dropped into Manchester United unless you are these sort of golden generational talents that can go in.
Well, even
that.
I think Martinelli might have come there, but they kept him around it, and then again they feel he's ready for the first team because he's that good.
Yeah.
But we'll bring him on away in the FA Cup. Start him at home against Sunderland in the third round of the League One of
people will talk
Carabao
about
Cup.
City. They'll go, but what about their youngsters? But going into Manchester City side, you know,
it's like class 92.
They can afford to be carried through and guided through that game. 100%. At Manchester United, we're looking for a youngster to come in and change the game and win the game for us.
100%.
At City, they get brought on and they play a game just to get the experience of playing at a senior level.
Well, the biggest problem at Manchester United, and that's what I'm talking about, why it's unfair on players, we're not bringing them into a stable ship.
No.
Like, it is fractious. The pressure is on. Yes, the fans would give them an easier time. When they put the ball out, you know, out of a mistake, there wouldn't be that, there wouldn't be no standing up and you don't care and all this. They wouldn't do that to the youngsters, so I get that. But for what it would do to them to play alongside other pros who have been failing, let me use this as an example and then we'll move on because we've been on this for a bit of a while. Remember when Hannibal Medbury came on against Liverpool?
Yeah.
Remember I was sitting here and I said, Maguire, you've absolutely stitched that young boy up.
Yeah.
He gave him a shit pass straight away, made him have to run and go and kick somebody and give away a foul. Straight away. The problem we've got, guys, about drip feeding in youngsters to this squad is that our senior pros are nowhere near the standard good enough to protect them. When you're a young player and you're playing with senior players, you need an arm around you. You need to look at somebody else who's going to calm you down. I need to look to the left and see a senior player going, don't worry, bro, I got you. I need to look to the right and say, oh, he's got me. I need to look up front. I need to look behind. I need to, right from the keeper, right through the team, I need to see senior players who have my back. We don't have that. I got senior players that are going to throw me under the bus. I've got some senior players that are going to blame me for shit.
Yeah.
So I don't want that for our youngsters. Don't deserve that. As much as I get it, on this side, they deserve a chance to say, you know what? Cool. Like, we'll still lose this game 5-0 with you or with them. I get that. But our youngsters deserve better than being thrown under the bus under a bunch of players who have no mentality to even look after themselves, let alone carry anyone else.
There's a leadership issue and an accountability issue. And like you said, you're going to give a pass to a kid in which that you shouldn't have actually given the pass because there's people around him, and then blame the kid and go, why'd you give the ball away? No, you're meant to be helping me. If I was a youngster, I'd be like, you're meant to be guiding me through. I'm shitting myself.
Can you imagine Bruno if little Zidane doesn't pass it right or kicks it out of play or something? Can you imagine what Bruno would do? And I'm not just trying to character assassinate Bruno. I'm only going off what we've seen.
Yeah.
He kind of does it to the weaker players. It's always someone else's fault. Yes, he's probably good. Look, Bruno it's been a good player for us. I'm not writing him off, but I'm talking about in this current moment of what we're seeing from him because we're in free fall. He's part of this as well. Could you imagine Harry Maguire picking one of the youngsters up after doing something bad and saying, I got you? I can't. Could you imagine Luke Shaw being really vocal to Garnacho saying, come on, Garnacho, like, you got this kid. Can you imagine? Who are you going to inspire?
Yeah, who are you looking towards at that time? And ironically, it would be Ronaldo, and he don't want to be there.
And then could you imagine Ronaldo with this crop of youngsters? He already said in the interview last year, the kids don't listen.
Yeah, exactly. He said himself. He said, he goes, I'm absolutely more than happy to offer my advice and opinion, but I know it falls on deaf ears, basically.
Exactly. Let's get back to the super chats, people. Horrible players. I'm actually feeling I read that one. Where was I at? Lawrence, Olu. BL Tech, there you go. Flex, United might be trash, but right now the UV channel and community is growing massively. Glory, United View. It is growing, and I'm really humbled with that. But I don't know. I'm in a prickly mood today, guys. Like I do.
His hot chocolate wasn't right.
100%. Like I really do.
I should have seen his face.
I was pissed.
He literally
been trying to get that hot chocolate.
He was trying to get the hot chocolate for weeks, and then he got it, and he went, "It's not even the right one."
And
it wasn't the right size cup.
No, didn't have any large cups. But good thing I didn't get a large of that though.
Yeah.
But no, big up to yourself, BL Tech. You guys in the community are growing week and week, and it's becoming a place where you guys are growing and having your say. And that's everything I envisage it to be. I'm just upset that it has to be in like this in these circumstances. Like I can get a rebuild, I can get us losing a couple of games, but I just wish we could all be laughing. Well, we'd always laugh and have a good time. We always bring a bit of humour to it. But I just wish that we could all just be on a different.
But what is great level, though, it must be said, and whilst times are rough and times are bad, and like I said, United are rubbish, and with this community, is that it does, because of how we are at the moment, there are sort of contrasting, conflicting opinions or whatever. But like you said, it's a safe space to be like, you can say whatever you want, and people are going to take it. They might not necessarily agree with it, but 100%. You should never have to be worried about your opinion or just because it might not be what everyone else says. I think that's the great thing about it.
100%. And Ray S says, Garner sold before Fred and McTominay. There you go. Anthony 2993 says, Vardy, isn't he like 35? Great renewal of United. By the way, I also heard Maguire is still sprinting the 13.8k. He's halfway through.
By the way, how wild is it that we're doing a show and KG's on the TV?
I know, just seeing KG there on a
he's
trailer.
Everywhere.
You can't get away from him.
No.
You can't get away from him.
Amazing.
That's what you love to see. You love to see
really
people
doing
well. You can't hold people back, man. You got to let them, rise. And if you're their people, you want them to, 100% do just as well. So great to see his big head on the TV. On the big TV right there. WJ Barrett says, guys, Garner ain't it. Iqbal and Savage are levels ahead. Maybe WJ Barrett, maybe, but we haven't, those guys haven't even played yet. Just in terms of who's at the next stage via putting the work in and getting that experience, it's Jimmy Garner. Just a little bit surprised. that he did that we're about to sell him potentially. Steve says, I'm sorry, but he's 21. If he's good enough, he'd be playing. We are swapping an academy player for a highly decorated Rabiot. Highly decorated. Say what you like, but it's real. Fair enough. There's a lot of people saying no, get rid of him. That's fine. Ivan Moy says, if we start selling young talent instead of the dead rubbish, then we're finished. I mean, finished. Ray Carl Brown says, why most managers must adapt to our players, must adjust to him. That's why Pep is successful. Downey, member for 2 months of the United View Members Club as well, says, if we sell Garner now, we will buy him back in 2 to 3 years, double or triple the price we sold him for. That would be typical Man United. Buyback clause. James C says, nah, I disagree. Who cares? These youngsters will be chomping at the bit to prove that they are better than McTominay and play with CR7. Fair enough. James C also says, youngsters know our senior pros will be gone soon. So James C with the other side, the alternate view, saying, nah, I disagree that, it's worse playing them or it's not about their confidence. He's saying that, you know what? They're more hungry than them lot that are playing. They'll be better.
Yeah, I just don't. I know the comparison people were making to Arsenal with us recently, but I just don't even think you can compare us to Arsenal last season. I feel like we're in a much worse position. Like the foundations were there for Arsenal next season, clearly, because they ended up having a good season. I don't see the foundation at Manchester United. But
David T says, this new but we can't be worse attitude our fans have adopted could ruin us. We did this with Medjugorje, Iqbal and Savage, and now it's Rabiot. Is it dangerous doing that? Well, it's because we've been forced to think that way, which is part of the problem.
I understand
because the bar is so low.
I understand what you're saying, and again, that goes back to playing the kids' route of, well, they can't be worse than so and so, like you said, but it can.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. And that was my concern about saying I'll play Zidane, but play Charlie Savage against Liverpool because we'll lose. We're going to lose. And then we go, oh, 1, they're not ready. Or 2, they're just completely scarred by that and not in a good way as well, you know? So it's a really risky approach, I think.
The real Ronaldo says KG on the rise, which is obviously good, like we said.
100%.
KG's on the rise. That's what we want to see. And Ray Carl Brown says, don't get down, Flex. This team was done for years. Now we need to believe in Ten Hag. Definitely believing in Ten Hag. We have to back this guy, no matter how bad it is. He's got to gut this team out. Smash a like on the video, peeps. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new to here. Ronaldo.
Yeah, and by the way, you say smash a like on the like button. Nearly 2,700 people watching. Still not to 500 yet when it comes to the likes. We can do...
Well. Been away for a little while. I've been looking at the likes. The numbers have been pushed up. Yeah, it's been announced from 500 to 750, and yet I see nearly 3 more times people in here than used to. Back in the days when it was like 900, that's one thing, innit? When there's 2 5s, 3K, and you're not even hitting the 500, it's like you're taking the piss. You're taking the piss. Yeah. Why do I have to come in here? Yeah. And go, you're a disgrace. You're a cheat. Yeah? All of you. Disgraces. Cheats. Yeah? Members, feelings in the chat. Yeah? Everyone else, let's get them likes up. 750, fam. 750. Yeah? Don't worry. I can wait here all day. Yeah? Or you can go and make a porridge. I don't know. Or, maybe we can just get back to the show because you've given us all of those delicious legs. Well, thank you very much. I was waiting for all those delicious legs. No. Well. Definitely going to have 750 today. No, it's a win.
I think we're back.
You know what is great? You know what is great about that as well is you can just sort of hear briefly from the other room, sort of murmurings of Mr. Fiegler, and he did not sound impressed.
And the thing is we have no control.
No,
as well. We're just stuck here, and I just see it come up on the screen. Then I'm like, oh well,
Phelan's got all the power.
Yeah. So there you go. Mike Phelan has spoken.
Yes.
What have we got?
Ronaldo. Yes. So obviously there was a lot going on about Cristiano Ronaldo yesterday, saying United might not be happy with his attitude, considering terminating his contract. Then United came out and said, no, that's not true. It's entirely false. Well, there's some more new details, shall we say, this morning from The Athletic once again, saying Erik ten Hag initially wanted Manchester United to keep Cristiano Ronaldo. He took the view they could not afford to lose Ronaldo this summer. It is now thought, though, he would be open to allowing Cristiano Ronaldo to leave, but only if United recruit in the forward position. It was also reported by Adam Crafton from The Athletic, saying there have been days where Cristiano Ronaldo eats lunch alone in the canteen at Carrington, whilst he has been seen flapping his arms about in training and attempting to argue.
Flapping his arms out.
Yeah,
the thing that he just does, that's his default thing, yeah. Just,
and attempting to argue against the high-pressing approach favoured by Erik ten Hag. Now, we were actually discussing this.
Josh just said we did a synchronised arm flap without
Did we?
realising.
GIF it.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before we went live, actually, saying a couple of things. One, the idea that sort of Ten Hag has now softened his approach, going, you know what, maybe it would be a good idea for him to leave, is interesting. But that last line when it says, but only if United recruit in the forward position, well, Ronaldo's not leaving.
Yeah, well, we will recruit in the forward position, but it'll be someone like Jamie Vardy or Ronaldo.
That null and voids that one. But the really interesting thing I thought about that was the second part. First of all, when he says he's eating lunch alone in the canteen, when we have heard that Ten Hag is very much like team meals. Yeah,
so you're going against
together.
that.
So you're already kind of implying that Ronaldo's distanced himself from the group. That's one thing. The second thing, when by all accounts he might be arguing with this high-pressing approach favoured by Ten Hag. Now, people might see that as being disrespectful to the manager, disrespectful to the coach, disrespectful to the principles that he is trying to implement. But on the other side of it, could you see a situation with Cristiano Ronaldo where he's saying, look, I know that I'm in great shape. I know that I'm not your average 37, 38-year-old, but I can't do it. I can't do this pressing thing that you want me to do. And maybe because of that, Erik ten Hag, again, is maybe why he's a bit more open to letting the guy go, because he's realised, actually, he can't do it.
Well, yeah, this is the other side of it. You know, the people who have like backed Ronaldo and said this is why we need him, and all. Well, also, even if you're in the Ronaldo can do no wrong camp, like this is why your guy wants out.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want to be here. He's actively trying to leave, and if you're in that camp, you should say, listen, if he wants to leave, he wants to leave. If you're in the Ronaldo camp of like, you just fine, he can do this if he wants. But it proves that it proves like at that age, Ronaldo's got a problem because is he going to adapt his way of playing further? Like he's done that adaptation already of like he's not a marauding winger doing loads of step overs and beating players. He's already been this central striker for the last 4 years? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Would you say 5? Maybe longer than that, just a focal point up front, longer than that. So he's saying, okay, cool, potentially I can't learn this whole new system and stuff like that. But even if we could say, you know, he's not going to do the pressing, he's not going to do that, but the team's going to play in a way where, do you know what, that's fine, we can have one spare part because we'll just give you chances. He can't rely on that either. He's isolated from the game. I mean, you look at the game against the other day. Look at Brentford. He came on against Brentford. He started the game against Brentford and was just on the periphery because we don't play through him. He doesn't link the play. And when the team's playing that poorly, he's got nothing to work on. Nothing.
He can't.
Nothing.
He can't do it. He can't do the pressing from the front. It was the same under Ralf Rangnick. Remember, Rangnick wanted just to do the gegenpress. He couldn't do it. And again, that's no disrespect to him or anything like that. He just he can't do it. You know, that's the situation. So I think. And again, that's not me covering for Ronaldo. I said the same about David De Gea in the sense that it's become a priority because David De Gea can't do clearly what Erik ten Hag wants him to do. And I don't think that Erik ten Hag should have to change his principles because of that. Every other top coach doesn't do that. But the issue then becomes of who do you replace him with? Who do you get in that can do what he wants? And can United find those players that can do what Ten Hag wants? And it just becomes more of a situation with Ronaldo, why it might be the right option to move him on. Again, I really was against what happened yesterday when it came out basically almost implying that United's terrible form at the moment is because of Ronaldo's attitude. That was ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous and laughable. And again, to question Cristiano Ronaldo's frustration to the lack of ambition at Manchester United is madness because it's entirely justified. Granted, Ronaldo's frustration, this is where you have to look at context. Ronaldo's frustration at the club doesn't really come from a place of, oh, I really want the club to succeed. Ronaldo's frustration at the club comes from, I want to be winning things for myself. It's entirely internal and self-centered. That's not a problem. That's just how Cristiano Ronaldo works. But maybe, again, there are clearly a lot of people in this club, De Gea, Ronaldo, and McTominay, Fred, and I'm not lumping them all in like the same quality of player, but there's a lot of people that can't do what Erik ten Hag wants them to be able to do. And it's just all a mess. It's all a mess, Fleck.
It is, and look, as long as Ronaldo is here, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen right up until this window closes, and it's looking more and more like, we came away from the Ronaldo situation for a couple of weeks because we was in chaos with something else, and that kind of went quiet. Now it's just reignited again, and the longer he goes of, they're highlighting that he didn't go over to the away fans and clap them, which he's never ever done when we lose. The longer it goes on, that you're getting things like what we just saw, with all the news coming out with he's isolated from the group and this, that, and the other. As long as he's still here till the window happens, this is going to happen. And I'm just getting more and more worried about the situation going forward. I think the Ronaldo issue is like, sometimes he's made to be a scapegoat, which I don't agree with.
No, I don't.
That's not the reason why Manchester United are poor. Did I like the way he was conducting himself during the summer? No. But that doesn't mean that you have to jump on the stories that are saying like, you should rip up his contract. Because like you were saying, you could rip up the whole teams then. Their attitude and application's been awful. But in terms of moving the squad forward, then you start getting news that Ten Hag would probably say, do you know what? That's why when it first came out that Ronaldo wanted to leave, I was like, you know what? Let him go straight away. Ten Hag was going to have to deal with this at some point. It's better that he just gets it out of the way and can kick the squad on. If we'll struggle. But again, I keep using Arsenal as a benchmark, but it's that whole Aubameyang's got to go. Like doesn't matter if he scored goals or whatever. He wants out or whatever. I know it's not for disciplinary reasons, I'm not saying that, but just the thing of having to make that tough decision where it splits the fan base, or who's going to do this, who's going to do that. Essentially, the only thing that vindicates these decisions is time, and that's why I use Mikel Arteta, because everyone said, how on earth could you get that for spend 30 million for Ramsdale? He's relegated all these times. He's crap. And I'm not saying he's the best keeper, but he silenced a lot of critics, You look at the decision for them to move away from Aubameyang. Now they end up with Jesus 6 months later. Like, it's vindicated.
Can we just say, though, in general, that I thought, and I understand maybe it's because the start's been so bad and because of the chaos that's surrounding the club at the moment, but when you talk about things not changing, as someone that's been covering United now for like 18 months or so, the sort of sheer volume of stuff or reports coming out of the training ground has not changed one bit. Remember this going into the season, it's meant to be like, no, I hate using the word leaks because everyone says everything's a leak. Yeah. But the noises coming out of the club, they're exactly the same. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Of the performance in training wasn't very good. This player's unhappy. This player isn't happy. Nothing's changed in that aspect at all.
Yeah. No, it hasn't. It absolutely hasn't. So we're going to see this rumble on. Last story today, which is somebody who can play up front instead of Ronaldo.
Yes.
Whatever difference that would make now he's back. But Martial is back in training.
Yes, Adam Crafton from The Athletic has also said that Anthony Martial is now back in training with Manchester United with the first team, I guess just in time for the game against Liverpool. I guess considering he's been out 2 weeks, hamstring issue, you never know how they're going to go. You're going to have to be quite careful with them. Do you expect him to possibly start? I mean, what does that even look like now? A squad that's got Ronaldo and Martial both in it. Who does start?
Get Rashford out and put Martial on the left, mate. I would.
Yeah?
I would. 100%. Right now, I would. Right now, I would do that. I know Martial's best work has been, but Martial will keep the ball better, make better runs, and play better in that position.
You don't think he drops Ronaldo? It's not the person to drop.
No. Yeah, it's not on him right now. It's the whole team's failing. There's other people you need to drop before him. You need to get a functioning team and try and give him some chances, and he will score. So, for me, I'm dropping Rashford before I'm dropping Ronaldo.
But again, just think about it, like 2 weeks ago, heading into that Brighton game, and again, there was some positivity coming in from pre-season. It was like, oh no, Martial is injured. Just 2 weeks later, you go like, what team is he walking back into now? And the negativity surrounding it, it's just... It is wild. And again, going back to what I was saying at the beginning of the show, you go, okay, Martial could start or Martial could be involved, great, but in reality, what difference is it truly going to make?
Just quick here, good point from Swift says, sorry Flex and Owen, but you're ignoring the fact that Erik ten Hag has come out in public backing Ronaldo, saying he trains perfect and wants to keep him. Don't take what the papers are saying as gospel. Always true, Swift, in terms of not believing everything that's out there. Good point. And that's what we said on the last stream, that actually Ten Hag's been really consistent on this Ronaldo thing, which is that he's not for sale. Looking forward to working with him. And he's in the group.
Yeah, very true. I mean, you can, again, and I've always said that, when it comes to any information that you see online or in the papers, it's like panning for gold. You have to shift away the dirt to find the gold in the middle, which can be big or small sometimes. That's the element of truth you're looking for. The only thing I would say is that you're hearing several outlets say the same things. And also, what is Erik ten Hag going to say in public?
Yeah. Well, just like the board. Oh, he's come out and said the board are really supporting him and he's happy. So do we believe that because Erik ten Hag said it? So it's like this, isn't it? It's like this. So there's probably a counter. There's so many injuries going on there. Sorry.
I know. I saw the Aston Villa one.
Yeah, he's out for like
the new centre back ruptured his Achilles.
Yerry Mina's out for 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Diego Carlos injured for about ruptured Achilles.
It's a season ender.
Ouch. Yeah. But yeah. Basically, there's pros and cons. And the last super chat today, PS, was from PS as potentially talking out my arse, but is Garner being sold because Erik ten Hag has got some indication of Frankie de Jong coming in? Otherwise, this is a suicidal move.
The Frankie de Jong thing, like even at this point, like I think a lot of people saw it last night. People going, in 7 days, or he could be in before the Liverpool game. I will believe it when I see it. And I would love for it to be true, but every single time this summer when we've got any kind of like deadline or date or it's going to be done in the next couple of weeks or it's moving closer, you get to that deadline and there is no difference. Nothing happens. Now, granted, as we get closer to the window closing, something's got to happen. Something's got to give, but I don't know. That whole situation is so complex that I don't know anymore, Flex.
No.
About everything.
Nothing to add on that. Yeah, 100%. I don't think you could be sure of that until you see him walk through the door, which I don't think is going to happen. And Nathan says, also remember, guys, the Ajax man them said Erik ten Hag will back the players in public no matter what. True. Another reason. So basically what Swift said was true, but there was a fair and equal counter argument to that of what Ten Hag's going to say in public versus what he's not. Like you said, he's also said in public that he's happy with the board and he feels supported. We can all see that's not the case. So whether it's player related, whether it's the board, whether it's transfers, he's never going to say the real truth.
No, and even in the interviews after the game, clearly he was disappointed and he said we made mistakes, lacked quality, I could have taken them all off. But he wasn't ranting and raving. But by all accounts, behind the scenes, he really was. Really was. So
exactly. Just to finish off, that poll was unanimous. 76% said Man United should not sell James Garner, and 24% said yes. So that was a unanimous poll there as well. We'll end that. Listen, guys, thanks for watching today. Smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you lot are new. We'll be back later on today with some tactical view, actually.
I don't envy Cam on that one.
I don't know how he's going to break that down. Like I said yesterday, mistake view. Like I don't know how from a tactical idea he's going to have to pull it out the bag.
Yeah,
really.
He could go minute for minute.
Maybe he just goes, well, you know what? It clearly wasn't tactics. If David Hay doesn't do this and this, then and then it might be a 1 minute video.
Maybe.
Who knows?
It's a short.
It might be a YouTube short, exactly. But we are out of here, guys. See you soon. Peace.